Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today, we're looking closely at asset entities. You sent over some info on their financials, their business model, and, well, some really recent, pretty big news. Our goal is to unpack what it all means for you.
Yeah, we've got a due diligence report from May 9th, 2025. It details their financial situation, their operations, but we also have these newer updates, especially the big announcement from May 7th and 8th. We'll try to piece it all together, give you a clear picture.
And what's really striking, I think, is this huge shift the company seems to be making, moving away from social media marketing to focusing primarily on Bitcoin. Let's get into those details.
Okay.
So looking at that financial snapshot from early May 2025, so revenue wasn't great, was it?
Right.
About $633,000 roughly over the past year, and no real strong growth history either.
That's right. The numbers show revenue was pretty consistently below $700,000 for a few years, not much upward movement. And then you add in the unprofitability. They kept losing money. A loss per share around, negative $1.70 last year. Recent quarterly losses, about $2 million.
So basically struggling to make their original model work.
Seems that way. It suggests that, despite being around, they just couldn't really scale up and turn a profit in that social media space, which probably explains a lot about why they decided to change course so dramatically.
Yeah, makes sense. The PE ratio is not applicable, which fits with the losses. But it's interesting, they had very little debt, right? Almost zero debt to equity. And assets were way higher than liabilities, like 6 times more.
Correct. That not applicable PE just means no positive earnings to calculate it from. Simple as that. But you're right about the balance sheet aspect. Low debt is usually a good sign. And having assets far outweighing liabilities, it does suggest some underlying financial stability, at least in terms of solvency, what they own versus what they owe.
Okay, and cash. They had a decent chunk, about $2.66 million. But like you said, with ongoing operational losses, that suggests negative free cash flow, doesn't it?
It does. That cash pile was likely shrinking. And the report mentioned cash flow from financing over $2 million recently, which probably means they'd raised money not long before that snapshot.
Right, trying to plug the gap. And return on equity, likely negative with those losses. Yet the price-to-book ratio was around 2.20. So the market was valuing them at more than double their book value, even with all these issues. No dividends either. What does that tell you, that price-to-book?
It suggests investors saw something there. Maybe potential in their assets or perhaps hope for future growth, despite the poor performance at the time. It's a bit of a premium valuation, considering the risks we just talked about.
Okay, let's shift to the business itself. Pre-merger news, early May context. They mentioned a competitive advantage in operational efficiency, like a gross profit margin near 100%. That sounds incredibly high. How does that work if they're still losing money overall?
Yeah, that is remarkably high. It means the direct cost of providing their specific services, whatever they were doing on Discord or TikTok, was very low. But it points to the problem being elsewhere. Either not enough revenue overall to cover fixed costs like salaries, rent, admin, or those other operating expenses were just really, really high. Good cost control on the service itself, but maybe not on running the business.
Gotcha. So they were seen as this underdog. Small market cap, low revenue, losing money. Key risks were, well, the financial instability and the stock price being driven by speculation. But they did have potential growth drivers from new projects, apparently.
And their niche was digital marketing, community engagement. AE.360.DDM was the brand, focusing on Discord, TikTok, Instagram, offering things like premium subscriptions, influencer marketing.
And they were one of the first public companies focused on Discord, which is interesting.
Yeah, a specific angle, different from the broader players like Hootsuite or Sprout Social. So their main thing was building these online communities, especially on Discord. Services probably cheap to deliver directly, but the overall business costs just swamped the income.
Okay, that sets the stage. Now, the big news. May 7th, 2025, merger agreement with Strive Asset Management to become the first publicly traded Bitcoin treasury company. That's not just a pivot, that's a whole new vehicle.
It really is a complete strategy overhaul. The new company keeps the Nasdaq listing but operates under the Strive brand, and their stated goal, to outperform Bitcoin itself using their own strategies, including this potential tax-free equity for Bitcoin swap using Section 351.
Section 351, remind us quickly.
Basically, it's a part of the U.S. tax code that can allow you to transfer property, like shares, into a corporation in exchange for its stock without immediately triggering capital gains tax. So the idea here might be to let shareholders eventually swap their Strive stock directly for Bitcoin in a tax-efficient way.
Ambitious. And they plan to raise up to $1 billion through stock and debt just to buy Bitcoin.
That's the plan mentioned, $1 billion. It shows a very aggressive accumulation strategy right out of the gate. And the asset entity CEO, Arshia Sarkani, specifically mentioned using their existing online communities.
Ah, right, for Bitcoin education and adoption, you said.
Yeah, so they see a link using their old strength, that community engagement skill, in this completely new crypto context.
Okay, so how did the market take this rather shocking news? The stock price must have reacted.
Oh, it reacted big time. The stock jumped, what was it, around 247% on May 7th, the day of the announcement, and it kept going up the next day another 50-something%. Hit prices near $7.28 a share.
Wow, that's explosive. What does that usually signal? Pure excitement.
It signals massive investor enthusiasm, definitely. Lots of speculation, too, about the potential here. The market clearly liked the idea of a public Bitcoin treasury and maybe bought into the idea that asset entities' background could actually help.
So huge optimism reflected there. Social media was positive too, you mentioned.
Yeah, reports indicated positive sentiment online about the strategic shift.
Okay, but every big move has risks. What's the potential upside versus the potential downside here?
Well, the upside is clearly tied to Bitcoin's price. If Bitcoin goes way up, their treasury value goes way up, potentially lifting the stock. And maybe their unique capital-raising ideas, like that Section 351 plan, could attract specific investors. But the risks are also significant. Crypto regulation is still a bit of a Wild West, very uncertain. That could hit them hard. Plus, the merger structure itself might face scrutiny.
And it seems some shareholders weren't thrilled initially. Mention of an investigation by Help or SADA over the terms.
Right. That happens sometimes. Shareholders might question if the deal is fair to them, if the valuation is right, or if the board did its job properly in approving it. Investigation like that looks into whether the board acted in the shareholders' best interests. Plus, if you invested in a social media company, you might not want to suddenly be holding shares in a Bitcoin treasury with all its volatility.
Good point. And we had that analyst view from early May, pre-merger news mostly. It noted some positive sentiment back then, maybe tied to earnings or partnerships, but still recommended a hold because of volatility and lack of clarity. How does this merger completely change that analyst's perspective?
Oh, it flips the script entirely. Whatever drove the sentiment before is almost irrelevant now. An analyst would have to completely reevaluate. Look at the Bitcoin market, Strive's management, the feasibility of raising that $1 billion, the regulatory risks, that hold recommendation. It would definitely be under review, waiting for a lot more detail on the new company's actual plans and projections.
So, wrapping up. It's clear this is coming in the midst of a massive fundamental change, from social media niche player to aspiring Bitcoin treasury giant. The market reacted strongly, but, well, the story's just beginning, really.
It is. And the interesting part is that blend, taking existing skills in community building and trying to apply them to this totally different financial world. That role of raising $1 billion for Bitcoin, the tax angle, it's definitely stuff for you to watch closely.
It really raises a core question for you, listening. How do you view a company making such a radical pivot? Is the potential allure of crypto growth enough to outweigh the, frankly, concerning financial history before this merger and the inherent risks of such a huge change?
And remember, for the nitty-gritty details management bios, full risk factors, you need to check the official SEC filings. Use the EDJR system. Financial sites like Nasdaq will have info too. Keep an eye out for those, especially with earnings apparently due mid-May. That could shed more light.
Absolutely. And if you found this breakdown helpful, please do subscribe, like the video, leave a comment. It really helps us keep bringing you this kind of analysis. Thanks for tuning in to Investing Talk Podcast.